Hello everyone, just a quick video today. Well, it's probably going to be quick. I made a trade this morning, SPY trade. Made, I don't know, small dollar wise, very small amount. Percentage wise, it was pretty good. I don't know. I don't know what. Um, I only got one contract. I had a pop-up come up. That's when I was trying to figure out what happened. I wanted to get 3 contracts. I started out with one, and then I tried to add another. I'll show you where I tried to add it. I paid $1.71. I sold it for $1.92. That works out. What is it? 21. 171. 12.2%. I tried to add another contract at about $1.75. In fact, here it is here. Yeah, I initially tried to buy at $1.85, and I couldn't get filled. Then $1.89, couldn't get filled, and so I did chase it a little bit. This one I would have been happy getting 2 contracts, but at this point I just wanted one contract, and I was going to add later if it dropped below where I thought it was going to go. Couldn't get filled on those, so this was when I tried to add. I'd already bought at $9.45. I tried to add again. It was $1.76 and $1.77. I couldn't get filled on those, but my goal was to get 3 contracts. Didn't work, but I got in at $9.45, and here's what I was looking at. $9.45 was right at the open of this candle, so it kind of worked out pretty good. I bought right. I mean, obviously I could have got in here; it would have been a little bit better price. But I bought puts, and I bought it here and sold it right here. So the timing was pretty good. I mean, sure, I could have held it here and would have done better, but without riding that out, I actually, after I sold it, I wanted to buy it back in to try to catch the next drop, but yeah, I got busy with work and couldn't watch, so I didn't do it. But I got in at $9.45, sold at $9.55. So yeah, I got in right here, right at the very opening of this candle, and I sold right at the very open of this candle right here. So as far as this little drop here goes, I played that almost perfectly. It wasn't quite the high. It was the open of that candle. It wasn't quite the high of the candle, and didn't quite catch the bottom here, but it was pretty close to the bottom. I sold at 278.03. The low was 277.98, so it's 5 cents away from the low. I wanted to get back in. I didn't know that we would get this bounce here. I thought it might bounce up to about here and then pulled back. Went up higher than I thought it would. I was figuring right around this area it might stop. We'd have a lower low, plus we had some resistance there. Once it went above this, I kind of quit paying attention to it because I wasn't as confident in it then. Like I said, if we would have bounced to this point, to this level, then that would have been a lower low with quite a bit of resistance here, and I would have been more comfortable jumping back in it. But once we made a higher high right here, I kind of turned my attention away from it and focused on other things, work. Not really stock, just other things. So that's what I played there. Yeah, it would have been nice, and we had a spinning top right here, right at resistance. So this would have been a nice catch here if we could have got that. But I got 12%. It was only one contract. It would have been nice if I would have got more contracts, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, so I'd rather go in light. And like I said, my plan was to add. As far as adding, I was trying to add. I was trying to add up in this range. I don't know. Actually, I think it was down here. I was trying to add somewhere down in here. Um, and I was going to play it down to these lows, which is pretty much why I got out. If I would have more than one contract, I would have sold maybe all but one contract right here. As it was, I only had one contract, so I sold it, and that was the end of that play. But I would have stopped out. Even if I would have held one contract, I would have stopped out on that and lost money. So I guess in the end it worked out better. But it's still nice to get a nice little win. I don't play Amazon; they're just too pricey for me. But we have. I like to look at the chart. Take a look at the ones that I normally watch. So Roku, we didn't really have any signals till right here. We had a bearish engulfing candle, and it would have been nice to catch it. I don't know. I didn't update this chart. These are yesterday's. Actually, yesterday's support and resistance lines. So I guess that was kind of bottom of this here. I don't really. For pre-market, I really only use the highs and the lows. I don't use. You see here, pre-market. Yeah, we had a lot of consolidation right in this area, which aligns with this. But as far as pre-market goes, I usually only look at the low and the high. I don't really pay that much attention to the consolidation in a mid-level for pre-market. But if you do look at it, like I said, it coincides with this high of the day right there. So that would have been a good trend line to have in there. Or not trend line, but price point. I haven't looked at these charts, so this is the first time I'm really seeing them. I haven't been focusing as much on trading, at least not as much on staring at charts all day. Right here we had a bearish engulfing that would have failed. If I would have played this, my stop out would have been right here, close above this high, so I would have stopped out on this candle. Bullish engulfing candle here, and would have stopped out on this candle, closed below this line, these two lines, or the lowest of those two. So Apple wouldn't have really had any good setups today. You could have played this one and made, I don't know, 5% maybe. Not much. This would have been a good trade here, but yeah, Apple just didn't really. Yeah, I mean, you could have caught this and had a nice run, but there's not really any entry signals. You had quite a bit of support here, but nothing, no candles that really tell you. You have a spinning top, but you're kind of coming out of a consolidated area. Is it going to go up or down? It's not really, doesn't really have a direction right here. So it's kind of hard to play that, riskier to play that. I try to avoid risky plays. I'd rather take a higher percentage chance for less profit than a lower percentage chance for more profit. That's just me. Alibaba, huge bearish engulfing candle here at the open, and yeah, it would have been great if you would have caught it here, played it to the downside. But when you have a huge candle like this, a lot of times you'll have a bounce back up, which you did. This bounced up to, I can't really tell where the candle, top of the candle, the wick is, but about here. Still would have been a pretty good play. This would have been a good entry here. But let's go back to that SPY chart. Show you a little bit more about it. When I entered, the reason I entered, let me let me zoom in a little bit here. I entered, what was it right here, 945. I entered this because we had this big sell off here and then a big bounce back up and a little bit of a wick here, but you see we stopped right at this VWAP. We had VWAP and we had our EMAs here, and we came right up to that, so I kind of like that. I like playing these off of these bounces when you have at least two levels of resistance if you're playing the short side. We had pivot point here, we had VWAP here, and sure, it broke above the VWAP, but it didn't close above the VWAP. So that's why I entered. If this candle would have closed up here, I wouldn't have got in. Or actually, if this candle would have closed up here, I wouldn't have got in because it would have been above the cloud and above the resistance points. And your target here can really only be low of day, which is here. So, which is why I kind of sold out when I did, right here at 955 actually. Got in right here at the beginning of this candle, rode it down to here, and it bounced a little bit, and I got out right there. So that's the kind of plays I like looking for. That's the kind of trades I was making when I ran my paper trade account from 2,000 to 7,000. That's the kind of trades I was taking. So anyway, that's it for today. Trying to keep the videos a little bit shorter. I know nobody wants to watch a 20-30 minute video, so, and because I'm not focusing as much on charts, I don't have as much to talk about. So let's see what we're doing here. Sell off here. Let's see if we bounce here. There's support here, so we might get a bounce. If it drops below this, I'd look for a target about here. 277 is going to be a mental target, but if I was trading this, if we got below here, which we got to close below here, not just drop below it. A lot of times it'll drop below it and then it'll pop back up and fake you out, and it can even do that even if it closes below that. But if we get a close below, then we get a close right at it, so we may bounce here. Look at the 3 and 10 minute, the 3 and 15 minute chart also here to see what we see. Yeah, see, we might get a bounce here. We also might get a bounce right to here, and then it dropped down. So I certainly wouldn't be playing calls on this bounce. I'd have to see a lot more conviction to be able to take calls on this, but let's just watch this for a minute and see what happens. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we come up to here and touch this pivot point and then drop. Let's see what happens. You see the 3, 5, and 15 are all in the oversold territory on the stochastics. And we might not quite get to that pivot point. It might drop from there. Like I said, if it does, my first target would be to sell some at this 277 mark, just because of mental resistance or mental support. After that, I'd unload everything but probably one contract. If you're trading big and you have 20 contracts, maybe keep 3 or 4 at this level. But for me and the size I trade, I'd only hold one contract at this point. And I'd probably have my stop on that last contract probably about here. Maybe 277, depending on how much of that money you're willing to give back on that last contract. So I don't want to I don't want to drag this out for everybody, but you can go back and look at the chart and see. I'm gonna keep an eye on it just for my curiosity. I'm not gonna play it, but you watch the video, you can go back and look at this and see what happens on the 2:45 p.m. candle Eastern Standard Time. See what happens with this 2:45 candle. It might go a little bit above this pivot point, maybe come up to the cloud here, but I still think it's going to come up and then drop. If it does, to be a true double bottom, what you would have to do is get a bounce here and come up to wherever, and then you could play the next breakthrough. I mean, it wouldn't be, that's not a true double bottom, but what my point was if we bounce up here and come back up and make a lower high and come down and break this again, then I'd be pretty sure we'd be coming down here then. But for what I was going to say about the double bottom trade is if this does bounce, comes back up, once it breaks above, I'd probably say here, once it breaks above here, you'd have a measured move target of it's 278.54 and 277.23, so about $1.30 move. So you could have a target of about $1.30. Let's call it $1.20 to be conservative. So your target would be about 279.70 if it breaks above this. Target would be about 279.70. That's called a measured move target. If you're not familiar with those, you can look it up, and it doesn't always work, but most of the time it does. And what it is you take your move from your double bottom, which would be this, and it's not considered a true double bottom until it breaks above the highs of this. And technically this would be the high, but to be conservative, to calculate my measured move, I would use this and then round down. So you take the amount of movement, 277.25 to 278.50, $1.25. So 279.75 would be the target if it breaks above this. So that's something else you can watch for. See if it does pop to the upside, and it is able to break this 278.64, 65, whatever this is. If it's able to break above that, see if it goes up to that 279.75 and fills that measured move target. But it's looking like it might do what I thought it might do and go to the downside. It did come up and almost touch that pivot, and let's see, it's looking like it's going to drop. It's not going to hold. Let's just say for the heck of it, I wanted to play puts right here. Puts are trading at let's go with 277 puts. So let's say I enter these puts right now at $1.75. Let's say I got in these $1.75. Let's see if we go down. If we drop down to the 277. Like I said, that 277 would have been my first target. So much for the short video, huh? So my first target would be right here. I'll make this a green line. And my second target right here, I'll make this a green line also. So this would be a true paper trade. I have a paper trade account that I use, but let's just call this a true paper trade. My entry was 175. Let's see what we're trading at right now. I'm actually going to pull this up and minimize it a little bit. We'll keep an eye on it here. Right now we're trading at 173, so I'm still slightly down from a $1.75 entry. And that $1.75 was on the high side. I mean, it was already down to like this low here. I looked over at the ask and it was 175, so that's what I called it. So we'll stick with that. It's 175. I know I could have got filled at that level. We'll see if we can hit that 277, and then like I said, that 276.80. And if we hit that 276.80 and drop below that, then I don't know how far it could go. I'd have to go back and look at the charts, but probably be a decent move, a decent drop there. So these are this coming Friday's May 31st expiration 277 puts. So there's going to be the theta is going to be high, the time decay, and they're going to move quicker. So my stop on this from a technical standpoint would be about here, but I'm not willing to let it go that far. I think for me a close above this candle here is going to be my stop, to be conservative. If I only had one contract and I was really in it with real money, I would hold it. I'd put my stop up here. But I'm going to assume that I have 3 contracts, and I don't want this to drag out too long, so I'm going to keep the stop lower. You could put your stop above this pivot point here, but it would have to be a close above the pivot point, not just a pop above the pivot point. So let's see here. We're trying to go lower. And the green lines are my 2 targets. We do have a longer tail on that last 5-minute candle. But that's okay. If we get a little bounce, if we get a small bounce back to that pivot point, that's okay. The 3 o'clock's coming up here pretty soon. That's when a lot of the floor traders get back to trading again. A lot of the floor traders will trade for the first hour and a half, and then they kind of take a lot of them take the day off, the rest of the day, and they come back and they'll start buying and selling at 3 o'clock. They call it power hour. A lot more volume. First hour of the morning and the last hour of the afternoon are the busiest as far as volume goes. We're popping back up here. Right now we're forming a bullish engulfing candle, so this might not work out. Let's see where this candle closes. We still have 4 more minutes on this candle. So, and that's something you got to watch for. your stop will be a close above, for me, a close above here. But I also need to think about, what if it pops way up to here, way up to here before the candle closes? Well, I'm not willing to hold it that long. So there's sometimes where you're not going to wait for the actual close of the candle, whatever your pain threshold is. If it's 20% loss, you have to figure out what that 20% is, and regardless of whether the candle actually closed or not, if you hit that point, then you need to get out. There's a chance, not likely, but there's a chance this thing could pop $8. You don't want to wait for that candle to close, and you're down 90%. So you have to have a pain threshold, a certain place in mind that you would stop out, whether or not the candle's closed. Got 2 more minutes on this candle. Let's see if it holds above that pivot point, or actually above this candle. This was where I said my stop would be. Close above this candle. I just take the stop. I'm down right now 20 cents a contract, so $20 per contract. So I said I would have had 3 contracts at $60. And that's one of the things about, it wasn't low of day, but it was close to low of day. So you gotta be careful playing when near low of days. Lately, I've been trading a lot more reversal trades, but my bread and butter that I've been doing good on was like the trade I showed you earlier, where I enter when there's 2 points of support or resistance, and I play with the trend. And those 2 points of support or resistance have to coincide, be really close to the same level, and see a candle that looks like it's slowing down. If it's a Maribozu candle or something, I'm not going to jump in on that just because there's 2 points of resistance. It has to be, for a short, for a put, it would have to be something with a long wick, or even a doji. If there's 2 points of resistance with a doji, I might consider that. Alright, we got a bullish engulfing candle, but it didn't close above that candle that I set for my stop. Let's see where we go here. Remember, my entry was 175. We'd need to get down to pretty much the low of this recent low to be able to break even. And if you had enough room, you could have added up there maybe. I don't know that I would have, especially not after a bullish engulfing candle. Let's see. Take a look at the 3-minute chart and see how that's looking. Yeah, it's coming down pretty decent. This play might work out. I'm only down $7, $6 per contract now. Remember, my entry is 175. The bid is at 171 right now. Now, if we flush, remember I said 277. I'll probably sell 2 contracts there, 2 of the 3. But with the theta, with having a higher theta, I don't think it's going to be much profit. See where we go. Probably be about $1.83 or something, $1.81, somewhere in there once we hit that 277. So yeah, we're $1.78 now. I think actually at this point I'd sell one contract, because with theta, I'm barely gonna, sell one contract here. I'm only gonna cover my fees, but I'm gonna reduce my risk also, just in case it does bounce back. So I'd put a sell order in $1.80 here for the one contract, and basically that one contract is gonna cover my fees. So let's see if we get a 180 print on here to see if my order would have went. Remember, if we lose this level, my target for the second one would be that 276.80, which is, it's not the low of day, but it's the low of the body. The bodies for those low of day candles. There's a 180 print right there. Doesn't mean that mine would have sold, but we did get some 180 prints. So that contract pretty much just paid for my fees, covered my fees. So the next two contracts is either going to be straight profit or straight loss, depending on what happens here. I still think we go lower. This bullish engulfing candle, from a technical standpoint, your stop out would be a close below this candle here. So if this candle closes below this line, that nullifies that bullish engulfing candle. So that bullish engulfing candle no longer exist. We have about one more minute, actually 20 seconds before this candle closes. Like I said, if it closes below that, the line where my cursor is, then I think we definitely drop more. Now, if it closes above it, we might bounce. So we closed above it, so let's see what happens. We might test that 277 again and then bounce. But let's see. I'm out one contract for enough to cover my fees. So let's see what happens. At this point, my goal is to sell one more contract down around here, and then I'll put a stop on the third one for a close above, probably above the 16 EMA. Now I may void that if we get a big huge red candle and we drop 50 cents, then I'm not going to give back that much of my profits. So we had a 181 print go across, so we definitely sold that one contract. But yeah, I'm not, if I'm up, we have a huge red candle that comes way down here, I'm going to sell that last contract. I'm not going to wait till it stops out way up here and give up that much profit. But if we're just making small candles, small drops, little steps down, then yeah, I'm going to keep my stop at a close above the 16 EMA. That way, if this thing continues to fall the rest of the day and we drop another $1 from here and we don't get a close above that 16 EMA, then I wrote out my profits. I'm going to move the stop to this pivot point, close above that pivot point. We came right down to that 277, and now it looks like we might be bouncing. So let's see what happens. So I could have got out at $1.80 for sure. 3 contracts would have only been $15 profit. Not that there's anything wrong with $15 profit, but you know, it's not very good risk reward when you have 3 contracts and only make $15. So that's something you got to think about, because you know, if your stop's 30 cents and your profit's 5, there's something wrong with that picture, and it's not going to work out if you continue to play in that way. I'd like to see it come down to that 276.80. And this could go on for a while. You know, we could come up here, ride this, and you know, half hour from now come down and break it. So I'm not going to stay on here this whole time. I'll continue to watch it to see how it plays out. But for now, my stop will be a close above these candles here. Close above these 2 candles will be my stop out, which will be around 277.53. I'll keep my stop there, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm not going to keep you on here the whole time. You know, I'm up maybe $1 on this trade with that one I sold, because my fees would have been $4.50, and I made $5 on that one contract, so I'm up 50 cents. So alright, that's it for this video. Go back and check your charts after you read this and see how this played out. You know, this was just a paper trade. I just mentally noted I paid $175. See how it plays out. I still think we drop from here. I don't think we're going to bounce. You know, we made a lower low right here. It just we might get a small bounce here, but I just think we're going to keep dropping. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and try to shoot another video for you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and see you later. Bye.